In this section, I am going to teach you how to visualize your psychic energy. Based on what we saw previously, you already know that energy causes effects in your body, which you should already have very well identified. You can now recognize when that psychic energy you deal with affects you, whether in your head, stomach, or chest, to give just a few examples. But here, a very interesting question arises. What shape does that psychic energy have? And if so, someone like me can have access to see that psychic energy and eventually control it? The answer is yes. That is precisely what you are going to learn here. Now, I must clarify that while there are general forms for psychic energy, some of which we are going to explore here, the truth is that each person has their own psychic structures, which in turn they can learn to control and eventually transform. Two aspects of this psychic healing process that we are going to work on in subsequent sections. Here, we are going to focus on helping you visualize that psychic energy that generates the effects that you experience. Effects that, as you have seen, can be positive or negative, depending precisely on the way in which you reach to manage that psychic energy that comes with you. If you learn psychic alchemy in its entirety, I can assure you that you will develop such a structure of balance that it will be very difficult for circumstances to upset you. Basically, with this section, I am helping you take the first steps to awaken your inner power, the one that you have not developed because of the circumstances you have experienced and because no one has been there to teach you. Given this entire frame of reference, let's go to the first exercise so that you can visualize your psychic energy. So, the first thing we are going to do is regulate our breathing. I want you to become aware of each inhalation and exhalation you make. We are going to do this in 5 repetitions, so I want you to take as deep a breath as you can and then breathe out just like I am going to do. And we are going to do this in 5 repetitions. Once you have performed this simple repetition exercise that aims to induce a state of tranquility, I now want you to breathe in and out calmly. May your breathing make you feel that inner peace that we seek here. I am breathing clouds from the sky and I am exhaling everything bad that was inside my body. Now, I want to give you an explanation before we get into the exercise. At this moment, you have your eyes open, therefore you are observing your external world. When you close your eyes, you access your internal world. When you are sleeping and dreaming, you have accessed your subconscious. But at this point, you can already realize that if you close your eyes while awake, you can see what is happening inside you in a state of consciousness, different from what happens with dreams. If you notice, this is where you are the one who has control of what happens. So, given this frame of reference, now I want you to close your eyes, and little by little, begin to fix your inner gaze on the center of where you are located at this moment. You will realize that little by little, a series of figures that have no shapes begin to form inside you. Some are clearer than others, some are gold or white, while others are darker tones. And all this is presented in front of a great void that acquires different shades of color, depending on the nature of your psychic energy. I want you to focus on the shapes you are seeing there while continuing to breathe slowly. As you can see, with this first exercise, I have already awakened in you the awareness that psychic energy exists, and I have managed to make you see it, perhaps for the first time in your life. I am sure that if you have done the exercise well, at this point, you should be experiencing pleasant sensations in some areas of your body, particularly in your head and shoulders. Because by having access to your psychic energy, you are able to induce a state of tranquility and relaxation that perhaps you had not felt before. Now, I want you to focus your gaze on the absolute center of your inner world. You will notice that this center begins to take a much more defined shape. Usually, it is a circle of light. It is not a perfect circle, but it is as if it were a kind of sun that sometimes stops being a circle, changes shape for a few moments, but it's still your psychic energy in a concentrated state. Remember that energy flows, and that is why it does not remain static in you. Now, I want you to maintain that psychic energy that you have concentrated, maintaining that form, while you continue breathing, to think about something that you don't like. That obsessive thought that hurts you, and I want you to be very aware about what is happening with your psychic energy right now. You will notice that two effects are generated. First, the psychic energy dissipates, and second, it changes its color. That light that is so clear or bright or golden starts little by little to blacken. Notice that just by activating one thought, you altered your entire psychic state. Let's take this exercise one step further. I want you to stop thinking about what hurt you and activate one of your thoughts, those that we worked on in the previous sections. In my case, I think of my dog, Winston, because I am doing the exercise with you. And you are going to notice a change. If you activated your happy thought, I want you to become very aware of what is happening with your psychic energy. You will notice that the light increases. The size of your concentrated energy, psychic energy, becomes much larger. And you are achieving that. What happens with the color? It is a purer, whiter, brighter color, which removes all the darkness. And what happens to your physical sensations? Of course, you feel more vital. So, you have learned to visualize your psychic energy, which is the first step of this great path that is psychic alchemy. But we are going to leave it here so that in the following sections we can work on other aspects of this healing procedure that will help you. It will allow you to better control your thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations. I see you there.